Good to see you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Brookover, and members of the council. I'll be pretty close to your 5 minutes. I don't want to exceed that, cause trouble. I am James R. Giddings. I reside not in East Lansing, in Williamstown Township, but I speak as a former resident and even student here in East Lansing, and as a retired circuit judge who served Ingham County for over 32 years. Several years ago, I handled an appeal involving East Lansing rental housing fines. In that case, substantial fines were inflicted, and I use that term with not too much limitation, on the owner of the property, fines of $275 a day for having occupants who stayed over 60 days in a calendar year. Importantly, the tenancy in that case was presumed based solely on the occupant's length of stay. The defendant was cited with 44 civil infractions and fines totaling $12,100. Huge fines arising out of alleged violations of the East Lansing Housing Ordinance historically have not been that unusual. And to me, it's troubling that this fine city would impose such fines without giving homeowners the courtesy of advance notice, relying on flawed language of the then and still existing code, which presumes that one who resides in a home for 30 days continuously or for over 30 days becomes a tenant. In other words, under the current code, if a guest resides in a home beyond the 30-day limit, the city code defines them as a tenant. If the two-person family owners do not get a rental license or demonstrate the guest falls within one of the narrow exceptions, the city can and does, we know, impose large fines. I got involved in helping to draft Proposal 1, hoping to assist in resolving this problem. Proposal 1 will restore to homeowners the freedom and the right to live with guests in one's home, so long as they are not rent-paying tenants. Prop 1 keeps existing rent regulations in place, and Prop 1 will fix the notice problem and preserve the ability of homeowners to live with persons of their own choosing, such that non-rent paying guests can live in East Lansing homes without fear of retribution. I had an opportunity to review a no on Prop 1 flyer. Unfortunately, the flyer, I think, misrepresented the current code and made unfounded claims about the problems the opponents say will arise from adoption of Prop 1. For example, that flyer states that homeowners may permit guests to live in the home without time limits and without a license. That is not true. The No on 1 campaign makes the claim also that Prop 1 will overturn the city's rental regulations, including occupancy limits. Not true. The flyer I saw also claims that Prop 1 will overturn short-term rental regulations and rental restriction overlays. Again, not true. It is helpful to review the precise language of Proposal 1, and I quote, "The city shall not restrict in any way relationships of persons living together as a household or residing in the home or interfere with the rights of owners to live with the persons of their choice as long as such persons are not rent-paying tenants." And I repeat, are not rent-paying tenants. Opponents of Proposal 1 have failed to offer a factual basis or any good faith argument that Prop 1 dismantles existing rent regulations, eliminates overlay districts, or demolishes rental licensing rules for rent-paying tenants. In my judgment, the East Lansing City Code as written violates homeowners' basic constitutional rights without furthering any valid neighborhood concerns. I am not alone in that view. District and circuit court judges here have ruled East Lansing's rental housing fines to be excessive and unconstitutional. Several years ago, a case called East Lansing versus Cerniglu involved the city's attempt to sanction a homeowner for allowing a temporary occupant in her...
You have 30 seconds remaining.
I'm sorry?
You have 30 seconds remaining, Judge.
Oh. For allowing her house to be used. She was charged with 33 violations and a $16,000 fine. Judge Ball resolved the issue, saying, "Here, the court is persuaded that insofar as the application of the ordinance in question does nothing to further the established purposes of the ordinance or any governmental interest under the circumstances of this case, and based on the facts set forth in the record, application of the ordinance is unconstitutional." And I suggest that in light of that legal history, in light of the city's legal, practical history, a vote on Prop 1 to pass it would be appropriate. And I thank you all for
Thanks for your input.
indulging me here today.
Thank you for your input.